Hello. So I recently made a poll on YouTube and I found out that about whatever, like 40% or something like that are also interested in learning how to program on the XRP Ledger. And in this video we will talk a little bit about how you can get started, what you will need and stuff like that. And it's also okay if you have no programming experience so far, and if you're completely new to all of that, it's gonna be very hard, obviously. But if you just look into it and, well, yeah, if you just really are able to motivate yourself to learn, then it shouldn't be a problem at all. So the first thing we need for programming usually is an IDE, a so-called integrated development environment. So we could, for example, just use a text editor for programming and do all the commands ourselves, but it's very, well, exhausting, annoying, and it's easier using an IDE, which also helps you and gives you even suggestions which methods you can call and stuff like that. And that's why we need to start with that here. And in my case, I would love to recommend the IntelliJ IDE, but unfortunately, using React is not supported in the free version. So you can only do a 30-day trial, but then you would have to buy it. Unless you're a student. So if you're currently studying something, you can apply to get it for free. So they have, like, what is it? IntelliJ students. There's a student version which is free. Yeah, you can get your free educational licenses. So if you're currently attending some kind of university or high schools, you can apply there and then get it for free. But in my case, I also love to use IntelliJ, but unfortunately, like I said, it's not free, so I'm gonna do it with Visual Studio Code, so VS Code. So so the first thing we have to do is we have to download it. So we will go to the page and download it. So you can see here, and it's being downloaded. And so yeah, now we just wait. In my videos, I will do it in with JavaScript. So there are if you want to program for the XRP Ledger, or if you want to interact with it, there are multiple ways you can do that. You can do that natively. There are also WebSockets where you can do that natively, but that's not. It's a little bit more exhausting. But there are also client libraries, and there are about 3 well known, I think. Yeah, we've got one for Python, we've got one for JavaScript, we've got one for C++, and one for Java. Personally, I'm most I've got the most experience in Java, but I won't be doing that because it's not very beginner friendly, and there are also it's like I said, it's not beginner friendly, and you have to the compiler will have to accept all your commands, and if you have typos or something like that in there, it won't even compile. Then the compiler will say, nope, you've got to fix something. And like I said, not very beginner friendly there. We also won't be using C++. We've got the same thing here again. And even my knowledge of C++ is just limited. So we will be using JavaScript because it's great for web development. So JavaScript, your browser is able to interpret JavaScript, and that's why we will be using it. So to be more precise, we'll be using NodeJS, which is a framework for JavaScript. And yeah, then the last thing we've got is Python, but Python is also very beginner friendly, but like I said, we'll be using JavaScript because it's nicer actually even doing programs which will be running in our browser. Alright, so after downloading it, there's no magic behind it. You click on it and install all of that. So you will accept the agreement, you will install it to the place you want to, then whatever. So yeah, you just click next and install it. So, but you should be, I hope you are familiar with how to install a program. And so these are the libraries which are supported. So we will we can also go to the get started. There are also some great tutorials which show you how it works. So we will be using, like I said, NodeJS. And so it's being installed right now. And we will also have to download Node.js. So depending which computer you're using, obviously if you're using a Mac or whatever, or Linux or Windows like me, then you have to download the right version. So in this case, you can see here, you can just download on the website of nodejs.org. You can download it, and install it. So it's the same principle. I already have it on my computer. That's why I won't be installing it again, but just click on it, download it and install it. It's not very hard. So So I'm ready, so let's start the IDE. So I also, as you can see here, and right, so so after installing Node.js, you can see here, we can also do a command afterwards, as soon as the IDE is here. Right, so now we're in the IDE. You will have to get familiar with how all of it works, so my bad. So, okay, great. So we can go to files. We will be creating a new project, so we're gonna go to file. Maybe there's also a possibility to, I'm also not very familiar with using VS Code. That's great. So we will both learn something today. Right, so what else? Okay, yeah, I don't want that one here. Right, what else is there? Okay, we can, like I said, we can look, we can choose our theme we want to use here. But I'm fine with that. Okay, we can also do some settings here, but let's continue here. Right, split editor is also cool. Okay, marked on. Okay, what else is here? Okay, great. I think it already looks nice. So let's see. There's a terminal. So that's the first thing we want. We'll click on terminal and new terminal. So we'll start here. And right, do I have npm here? Hopefully. Yes, I do. Cool. So, right, so the first command we're gonna enter is, we can enter the node version. Why not? So we can see what the current version here is. So right now in my, so here I've got on my computer node version 12.17.0. So, and the first thing we're gonna do is, we can also make, we can create a directory. Yeah, sure, why not? But it doesn't matter. We will go to, right, exploring. Okay, yeah, great. Okay, yep, we'll start with that. So we'll start with that command here. You can just copy that. There's nothing else. Then it creates just a directory called my Ripple experiment, and then we'll go into it. So we will create a directory and then navigate into it. Okay. Great, so we created that one, and then we'll go into the my Ripple experiment library, directory, and we're in there. It's nothing special yet. Then we can also call the command git init, so it initialize a GitHub repository. So not the GitHub, my bad, a Git repository. So I should be more precise here when I say that. GitHub is something else, which we mentioned another time. Then we will have to create a package.json file, so we can really just copy and paste it, copy that. We'll go to files and we'll create a new file. Well, we'll click on open folder. No, that's not good. Okay, that's great. I will have to quickly, what is else there? Okay, extensions, stuff like that. Okay, yeah, we'll have to click on open folder. I will go to, it's I'm a user now. It's my Ripple experiment in there. So I'm gonna select that one here under my Ripple experiment and select the folder. Okay, yes, I trust your offers. Okay, now now I'm in the folder my Ripple experiment. Alright, so now I'm gonna create a new file called package.json. I will paste just the settings here. And then we can also use Yarn, so you will have to download and install Yarn. So I have it on my computer, so you will just have to go to the website and download also Yarn. So it's here, it's called Yarn package. Just go to, just enter command npm install -- global Yarn. So just copy, so go to the terminal again, click on terminal, yep, and just paste that. If you do that, it doesn't work, or it will probably do nothing. It's just checking here because we already have it. But just do the command, it will take some time, but after it's done, you're good to go. And after having that, we can finally, we can save Yarn, so it automatically calls Yarn install. It doesn't work, that's great. Why does it not work? It wants. Great, we'll look into the package here. What else is wrong? Right. Alright, we want the Ripple up here. Okay, great. Let's try it again though. Okay, yeah, I just removed the / there. yeah, you remove that, and then you just call yarn. It calls yarn install, and then it's fetching all the packages. Because we've got here dependencies, it's right now getting the Ripple lib, so it's a client library which you can use in Node to interact with the XRP Ledger. Right, so yeah, it will just take some time. So we can also look. So right now there's the node modules folder. This one should be not included in Git. So, oh well, I have to do it manually then. I'm not that familiar with. Oh, we could also blah blah. Yeah, we don't. Yes, we want to add it. There's a git ignore. So like I said, Git is a file versioning system. So whenever you have files, it's creating the changes more or less. So we can see in green, so new files are in green, and then you can commit that, because usually there are, like, for example, like GitHub or GitLab or whatever, where you can push your changes to. So it saves that on the server of GitHub or on the server of GitLab, or you can also host it yourself. And then you can, that's how you can, well, more or less manage the changes, manage your files and all of that. But let's go back, and we will create now a new file. So again, we click on new file. We'll create our index.js. Oh, wow. Yeah, let's create our index.js. Yep. And now we're gonna just copy all of that here. This is next one. So it's our first XRP script we've got here. So this one is connecting, so let's start here. We can see here we're creating a Ripple API. That's just a client library, like I said. We're creating the object here, and we're connecting via WebSocket to s1.ripple.com. We can basically enter any name of a validator. We could also use I think that the other one is XRP cluster. It's XRP cluster, or XRPL cluster. Let's quickly look it up. There are different ones. You can basically use the one you'd like to. Yeah, it's called XRP cluster. We could also use that one here. So this one is, for example, hosted by the XRP Ledger Foundation. So wait a sec, XRP cluster, xrpl cluster.com. Okay, the one is the other one. And what are we doing here? We're just getting an address here, so we could take any address. For example, I could also take my xrpdev address, which I will be doing. So we'll quickly go to XRP scan and just copy my account address here. I'm going to paste it here, and then we will get all information about the xrpdev address. And in order to start off there, we will just call the command node and then index.js. And now the script is being executed. And now we did our first interaction with the XRP Ledger. We can see here, this script we have here is being executed. It's connecting to xrpcluster.com via WebSocket. And we've got here something special. You can see here api.connect. So as soon as the Ripple API is ready, then we will do something. You can see here we will get my address. We are logging something that's not important, and we're calling api.getAccountInfo. So that's a method we can call in the Ripple API, and we'll just get the account information. And as soon as we get the response, then the then part is being executed. And now it's done. And what else is it doing? It's logging what the XRP Ledger told us. We can see here, this account is the sequence, is that one here. The XRP balance is what you can see in my balance. The owner account, how much objects do own, the previous affecting transaction ID, the previous affecting transaction ledger version, and that's the first command we just executed here when interacting with the XRP Ledger. Alright, and the last thing we're going to do is we're going to send a payment using the XRP Ledger. So, but this time we will do it in the testnet, right? Because otherwise it might, yeah, well, we definitely won't do it in the test on the mainnet. Okay, so I'm right now on the Send XRP tab. You can see here how we have to start here. So let's go to the first part. So we already did the connecting part. So that's not very interesting. So that's not important to us. You can see here. We'll just add something else now. We've got here the API.connect. So we'll quickly look at the code again. And we can see here there is a then. We'll quickly change that. So we will remove the disconnect part here. So it's very important. We will remove this part here. these two things we're going to remove. So it's okay that we've got the catch here, but it's very important that we remove the disconnect, because I want to afterwards again call the API.on, and we will just copy and paste what we have here. So this API on, and we'll copy that one. That's now, so afterwards we'll just call that one here. Right, so we'll then close the parentheses, then close the, well, we'll first close the curly parentheses and then close the round parentheses. And now in the middle we can now write our code. And we can see here now the first thing we're going to do, we're going to prepare a transaction. So we can now prepare a JSON object, which we're going to send to the XRP Ledger. And in this JSON object, there's information what the XRP Ledger should do, what we want it to do. And there's the part we're just going to copy and paste all of it here. So just copy it and go to the, so it's important now in between these curly parentheses, and just paste it here. And now we're just preparing a transaction. And now we can see it should be a payment transaction. It's fine. So from where is it going to be sent? So now I'm going to add quotation marks here, and just go to my test environment and copy the account address. So this is the account from where it should be sent from. And there's a method on the API. It's called xrp_drops. We can add here the XRP amount, and it's translating it into drops. So now let's say we want to send 10 XRP. And now to which account should it be sent? And for that I'm going to create another account on in the XRP toolkit. I'm going to click on access, click on generate credentials. I'm going to just generate a second account here. It's that one here. I'm going to paste the secret. And now I'm going to copy the account address. So it's RD and whatever. And I'm going to paste it here. So this is where it's going to be sent to. It's going to be sent from this account to that one here. I'm also going to add the other one, so the account from where it's being sent. So I'm going to again go into my test environment and copy the secret, and can also add it onto the XRP toolkit. So this is the place where it should be sent from. All right, so let's go on now. So the next thing we have to do, so after preparing the transaction, we have to sign it. Okay, so right now we prepared it, so we created the object and all of that, but now we're gonna sign it, because the XRP Ledger needs to know that we are, well, that we are allowed to even do the transaction, that we the account owner. And for that, we will have to sign it using, again, a little bit of code. We will just copy it here again and paste it. So we're gonna sign all of that, and now on the secret, we will have to enter our secret from the, again, from the test.yml. I'm going to copy the secret and paste it here. Right, after signing it, it's now the last part. We have to send the signed transaction to the XRP Ledger. And we can do that by calling the submit function. It's that part here. So we're just going to copy that again, paste it, and now it's sending the signed transaction to the XRP Ledger. And now we are done. So this is all information it needs now. So preparing the transaction, number one, signing the transaction, that it knows that we are allowed to do the transaction. The third part, submitting it and sending it to the XRP Ledger. And after having all of that, now we can just go to console, enter node, and now I'm going to just enter IND and click on the tab, so the tabulator. Then it's just going to autocomplete it and click enter, and it's done. Right, so now we're just going to look it up if it worked. And we can see here we just sent 10 XRP from this account to that one here. So 10 were just received. And we can also change it again. We can, for example, say, why not? Let's send 100 XRP. So I'm just going to enter 100, save again, and call. So I'm just going to enter CLS to clear. Oh, wait a sec. Okay, great. So, okay. It didn't finish. Okay, my bad. It didn't disconnect. Yeah. So after that, I would have to add a. So after the on, I'm just gonna add a then, and also whatever. Okay, I'm just gonna add a disconnect here. Add a disconnect. Okay, great. So that it finally, well, at the end, that it stops more or less. So I'm just gonna do the call again. I'm gonna say node index.js. And I did a mistake again. So can't I add after the on? So I quickly have to look it up. I'm not allowed to use it then there. So like I said, I'm not really that much into JavaScript so NodeJS or JavaScript coding. So that's why I sometimes make mistakes here. So let's see how it disconnects here. So it's okay, it's fine with the connect part. Well, let's just call it the end, I guess. So because we're calling it after the on, right, yeah, let's just do it afterwards, I guess. But it's being done asynchronously, so I need to do it afterwards. But I'm not allowed to call it then. That is a problem, definitely. Can I do it in there? So, nope. Okay, yeah, well, I'm just gonna keep it that way, but I should, well, I have to call have to disconnect afterwards. So that's a good question how we'll do that, but well, I'm just gonna quickly pause. Alright, yeah, so just add the API to disconnect we want to the promise, but at the end here, after the on here in the async function here, just that API to disconnect at the end. And now we're just gonna do the call one more time, node.index.js, enter, it's doing the transaction, and it's done. And now we can look at the XRP Ledger again here, and now just 100 XRP was sent again. And if I call it again, it's being done another time. And 100 XRP are gone. Again, it should be that one, I guess. Yeah. So I'm good. So like I said, we can do this as often as we want to, but right now we're communicating with the XRP Ledger, and we're sending lots of XRP from this account again. The last part we're going to do is we're going to also look at the block explorer. So I meant on the testnet, we're going to look at the testnet while it's happening. So just paste it here. And now we can see the blocks are being validated. And now I'm going to do the command one last time. I'm going to do that here now. And now we're going to look at it, and there should be a payment any second in there. Yeah, I don't know which one it was, but I'm just going to click it both here because I don't remember the account name. So it wasn't 1,000. Nope. That was probably one of these two, I guess. Ah, yeah, that one here. So now we can see the 100 XRP which were being sent. Great. So yeah, that was it for this tutorial. So it was a little bit longer. I hope I explained everything clearly now. I hope you know how you can get started now on programming on the XRP Ledger with JavaScript, and to be more specific, using NodeJS. And if you like the video and all of that, then I will continue this series. And yeah, thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.